Hello and welcome to the Rock Your Voice podcast. Vocal coaching tips that will transform your voice, interviews that will inspire, industry guidance, and so much more. Without further ado, let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Rock Your Voice podcast. It's my 100th episode. I can't believe it. I started out and was like, maybe I'll end up producing 2 or 3 episodes and then get bored, but I absolutely love it. And it's just quite amazing seeing how it's charting all over the world and people are listening all over the place. And it means so much to me that I've created something that's helping people learn more about their voices and the industry, and it's giving people confidence to sing. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for checking it out. And thank you very much to Cynthia, John, Sarah, Audrey, and Nicole who joined me for this episode to chat about their journey with me on their mission to become better singers. So you'll see they're all very different mix of people, very different levels in their singing careers, and you'll hear a bit about their stories. We're going to talk about things like imposter syndrome, having the confidence to even show up to your first lesson, having the confidence to sing in public for the first time, building community, which is the hugest part of this for me. That was the biggest takeaway, is the community that's come as part of what I do, which was definitely not intentional, but it's grown into something that just means so much to me. So lots of different topics here that will probably relate to something somewhere along your singing journey timeline. So I hope you enjoy the episode. I hope it inspires you. If you haven't quite yet taken the leap to start digging into your voice and seeing what you can do with it, I hope this inspires you to do so and have the confidence, and don't hold back. Don't be afraid. There's a wonderful community waiting to support you, whether it's this one or whether it's one closer to where you are. You will find the right group. You will find the right coaches. Just keep looking. And if you ever have any questions, please reach out, and hope you enjoy episode 100 of the Rock Your Voice podcast. So this is really awesome. So the first 2 people to have hopped online tonight for my 100th podcast episode recording sesh, it's John and Sarah, and you both have been working with me for different levels of time and different stuff. So, and it's really, really cool because explain what happened and how you met Sarah.
Actually, I came in for my lesson, and I usually show up a couple minutes early, you kind of get ready. And then I heard somebody singing, and I'm thinking, wow, that sounds good. And then, of course, you hear you guys wrapping up, and Sarah came out, and I think we were just trying to figure out who said what to who. Sarah, you remember this better than I do.
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
He just said something kind of cheeky like, oh, someone was sure singing pretty in there. And then I just said, well, if you want to collab, get my number from Emma, which was also a bit cheeky.
I love it so much. And so yeah, he did. He got your number and you guys started collaborating. And at that point, where were you at, John? Had you been performing much? You had just started writing some really cool songs.
Well, yeah, I wrote a couple. The only time I actually was at your barbecue.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't just remember looking down and trying to remember anything.
Yeah.
So I really haven't been out a lot. And then I was talking to Sarah, and Sarah has done some stuff. She's been out and about with different groups and whatnot. So I'm thinking, great. And then when we started singing together, it's like, oh, well, this is going to work in many ways. First off, she's just a real cool person.
Yes.
And we get along. Yeah, and she nails the harmonies and stuff. So we like the same music.
Yeah.
Somebody's a little obsessed with Taylor Swift a little bit too much in my, but it's not really a Garth thing, but that's okay.
It's a pretty close world, Taylor and Garth.
Yeah.
I mean, not really that far. Yeah, it's not as far as you might think.
Yeah. Totally. And so going from really having not played much, especially for yourself, John, and so what you guys started jamming and collaborating?
Yeah, like I came from I was jamming with these old guys, like I'm a young guy. I was actually the young guy in the group, so yeah, I was the young guy. And it was really just kind of all over the place. There's just more of just going and showing up and jamming. But these guys had like 30 years of experience between all of them, like each one had. So I learned a ton from those guys. And I remember I was joking with you because they made me the singer, so I was doing the singing for the most part. And then I said, well, it would be good if this guy just shut up because I'm trying to sing, right? That's not really the band mentality, right? So I was just joking, of course, but yeah, we weren't really getting really far because I wanted to go out open mics and just get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah and I had the same kind of view and said, okay, well, let's set a date. That's
Yeah.
what we're going to do. Open mic. We knuckled down and got it done. So
Got it
Band-Aids
done.
off, and actually it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I was nervous as I'll get out, but I don't know. It looked okay, and
I love
our
it.
practice paid off. And yeah,
Nice.
I know
How
we're
many
still
songs
talking about
there?
anything we've learned from you. Like we wouldn't be here without you. So
Aw, thank you. Well, I was so excited because I was on the road and I got the email from you guys saying that you'd done it and everything, and I was just like, "What? This is so awesome!" So, what did you sing, Sarah? Tell me about the songs you chose.
We put our set together kind of carefully. We actually put some thought in it. We wanted to have like a mix of like peppy and
Yeah,
slow or whatever. So we opened with, well, also we had a very limited repertoire at that time.
yeah.
I think we had 3 songs we actually could sing, and so we did those 3, which were
well, no, we had like 8 or 9 songs we were playing, but not really knuckled down. So we came down to 3. Let's try those 3 really hard. So all week we were practicing those 3.
yeah, it's true. So we did Lay Down Sally, and we
Nice.
did I'm on Fire, Bruce Springsteen, which I had worked on with you because I wrote that harmony line for it.
Yes.
And then we did Tennessee Whiskey.
Very cool.
And then finally, then the host asked us to do one more. And then we were like deer in the headlights because we really truly had not prepared a 4th one for, to be stage ready.
Yeah.
But we did it anyway. We had Take It Easy by the Eagles. We had done that several times, and it was like, it's pretty easy. And
The funniest thing though is because the ones we practiced, like I screwed up on every single song somehow, some way, right? It just kind of went out the window. And then does anybody notice? I don't know, whatever. But then
nobody noticed.
But then
It was
when you said do the 4th,
It was just lyrics though. It wasn't like, well, there were the jazz notes, but those sound so cool anyway.
yeah, do them twice. And then to start off one song, which is like half speed. What am I doing here? Because I was just kind of just riffing while everybody's getting ready. And then I went into the song, and it was like quarter speed even. Like they would,
The record player's broken down.
So I started speeding up real fast, and Sarah was looking, "What the hell are you doing? You just suddenly got hyped up here."
I love it.
But in all seriousness, that was a great experience because, what we found, or what, at least I'll speak for myself, what I found was that we can work pretty well together when things aren't exactly how we practice them. We still were able to stay together, have fun, finish the songs. And I don't think anyone noticed except for us.
Yeah.
I love this so much because everything that you're talking about it doesn't matter how far up the ladder you climb, like all of the challenges pretty much remain the same. And it just you get more used to it, and it becomes a little less painful when you trip over the blocks and stuff, and you're a little closer to your teammates, and you're all so used to it all. So this is so cool. Like, and just like to have the 2 of you here right now, this is so perfect because it's like everything that you've learned through this experience of just being complete strangers bumping into each other in the hall outside of your singing lessons. So you're both clearly passionate about what you're doing, that you're investing your time and your money, and fate just stepped in and was like, I'm just going to make you pass in the hallway and just have the confidence to make those connections and stuff. So I absolutely love that. So, okay, Nicole is in the waiting room. I'm going to let Nicole in, but I want to also ask, so what's the biggest learning experience? What's your biggest takeaway from this experience so far? Hi, Nicole.
From the collab, I learned that Sarah's pretty awesome. And
that's an easy, everyone learns that real quick.
Everyone learns that, and she's just so fun on stage. And it's funny because I'm always, I'm angry whenever I sing, and every note hurts me, right? So I got to change the face.
You're awesome too. You're very fun. It wouldn't have been fun for me if you weren't fun. I've sung with several other people on stage, believe me. And it's one thing I love about singing with you is that you're very fun and very chill. even if you're nervous, you are chill with me.
Nice.
Yeah,
So what
it
would
was-
you say to someone who was like in the position that you guys were in when you were first coming to lessons, before you'd had the confidence to make the connection, before you had the confidence to book the gigs and do all this stuff? What would be what would you say to someone who is in the position of like the coming to lessons phase or starting up lessons phase and wants to be where you are now? What would you say?
Well, I think a lot of it is, and I'm still learning this actually, is just be okay with yourself.
Yeah.
I've always critiqued myself, and I still do it all the time. It's like, oh, I didn't want to hear a lot of my stuff because I'm still cringing at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a long ways to go. But so you practice really hard. You do the squats, the push-ups, the hard work, do your voice work, right? And then have fun. I mean, it's got to be fun.
Yeah.
And so we still do the same thing. We'll practice our stuff. We go into it and we get some songs and we work on them real hard. And we also know that if you're working on one song, it translates to all your songs. Because if you're really trying to hone the voice or the sound or whatever it is, that skill will translate on. So
Absolutely.
it's not wasted time of just working on one song a lot.
Yes.
And it is practice. Practice makes perfect. So you got to practice and permanent rather. So just keep practicing, hitting that, trying to get that one better. And you can always go back to it. Tennessee Whiskey is a great example.
Totally.
Just keep working on that one note or something. Keep hitting it until you finally get it and it'll stay.
Yeah.
But, rather than doing everything at once sort of thing, I guess.
I love it.
I'm all over the place. Like I do everything at once.
So Sarah, what advice would you give to Sarah 6 months ago or someone who was in that position? What would you say?
I would say it's very similar to what John is saying, but I would just say it this way, like you just have to do it. You have to stop waiting for the day when you feel like you're ready. You have to set a date and do it and let the chips fall where they may, because it will never be perfect enough for you to feel ready. You'll always feel unready. But if you don't just get out there and do it, then you'll never do it.
I love that. I love that. And Nicole has joined us. Hello, Nicole. It's so good to see you. I miss you.
Hello.
And I think you guys have you all met each other? Sarah? Yeah.
For sure.
I met Sarah. I think I've seen John on like another thing online at some point or another, but I don't think we've ever met in person.
At the barbecue.
He was
my
at
alter ego.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So, okay. So this is really awesome because this is why I love what I do. Because I'm like, have you guys met? And it's like, yay, this community of just people who are just passionate about that same one thing. And you're all here and being part of this. So thank you so much for joining. So like, I have like a bunch of questions that I kind of want to touch on. And there's certain things because there's certain people here right now. So this is so perfect. So I'm so sorry, Nicole, because I always bring this up whenever I'm talking to you about anything, about like, sometimes people will really hold back because of like stage fright or performance anxiety and stuff like that. And I always poor Nicole, I always put her on the spot about this because she is my most perfect example of overcoming massive stage fright and kicking its ass.
If you're not the one telling the story, I'm telling it, so it's fine.
So I love it. So like, okay, so Nicole, tell me like, how is your approach on handling performing? Like, how has that changed over time, and how is being part of a community like this supported your growth and being able to manage it?
It's been a little bit of everything, I would say, like trying to find little things that I can do that just help it piece by piece. It's been getting into the group classes was really helpful because then it was like a really relaxed setting and you were kind of singing in a really casual way in front of other people, and that lifted it a little bit. And then once I decided to actually start performing in front of people, it was taking the time on the drive to wherever I was singing to do like breathing exercises and a warm up and stuff like that. The like breathing exercises really help because I get super worked up. You can see it on my body. Like you can see me getting hives. I get shaky, all that kind of stuff. And I do find the breathing exercises have helped a lot. And then just getting out and doing it. Like that's always my thing. If I have I know that I'm going to be performing, then that pushes me to practice, which makes me feel better about it. And then the more often I do it, the less nervous I am every time. Like we just played a gig a few weeks ago at Gravity, and I don't feel like I was nervous at all. I just kind of went and did it. I didn't like over prepare the things I was going to say. We were just kind of chatting back and forth, and it gets more casual the more that you do it.
Yeah, totally. That's so that makes me so happy, because honestly, having you sing in front of a group was terrifying for me, because
Yeah.
I was, and
We
I always
needed to have like a mattress beside me in case I passed out. Yeah.
totally.
I was like that as a kid. Like I would like I grew up in the smallest of small towns, but we would always have like a Christmas concert.
Mhm.
And I'm like singing in a group of, 5 other kids, and there's like 50 parents watching, and I would get physically ill backstage and stuff. Even for that, I've always been that way. And yeah, I don't know.
It's amazing. It's just been so cool to be here to watch these changes and transitions. And like you, John, you hadn't performed in front of people until you were at the barbecue this summer, like doing
Yeah, the only time before that was, I played at my mom's celebration of life.
right.
And that was an interesting thing. One. Yeah, it was tough. I wasn't prepared, but it was one of those challenges. Just do it. And so I showed up at a small hall with 2 big, like all the gear for a great big venue. I don't know. I've never done it.
That's a classic, John.
I had a monitor speaker. I got 2 big speakers on stands. I got the stage lights. My brothers go, even if you suck, you sure look like you know what you're doing. They go,
that's half the battle.
Yeah. And that was the only other really time. So I think once I'm nervous as hell too. Like I gotta give Nicole, like, you got guts, right?
Yeah.
And if you're, if it's really affecting, like I'm nervous. I think everybody's nervous. And this like when I did the open mic, I don't really remember a lot of it because I was just trying to get through the songs and it's done, right?
Yeah.
But I think it'll get easier. I think when looking back at it, it looked like it was kind of chill. Like it was, So I certainly, I think we're okay. I think we're going to be fine. We got that done.
I love it.
And we just move forward now, and it'll just be easier.
I love it. Sarah, can you recall a specific moment when you realized you wanted to take singing kind of seriously or really make it a part of your life?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. Remember when I saw you at the library? So right before that, so I've been in a guitar group, which is not at all singing focused, although we do sing for a long time. And the leader tapped me on the shoulder to see if I could sing some songs with him. And I was like, okay. But I was, first of all, like you, Nicole, I was terribly nervous. And I just had a very difficult time with it. But I also, at the same time, I also enjoyed it. That was like about maybe a year and a half ago. And so I just decided I wanted to get more serious and
I love it.
Really see if I could do anything with that. And right around that time, a friend of mine was like, hey, let's get a gig where we go. And we lead a sing along in a seniors club every week. And we just started doing that. And when I look back at when we started, we were horrible. We were just god awful. But we did it. Like I said, we just got up and we did it. And our people who come every week, they love it. And we've improved quite a bit now. Some of them are actually quite musical. And now anyway, I could go on about that group for hours, but it's a lovely experience. And that was probably how I got a little bit hardened off to the mic, to singing in the mic and playing. I play guitar and banjo in that setting as well. So
Nicole, what for you, what was the most significant challenge you faced when you kind of stepped into taking singing lessons and overcoming that? I'm assuming it would probably be related to performance, but because you have such a beautiful voice, so you stepped into it but yeah, tell me a bit about your journey stepping into singing and when it all came.
It was the stage fright, but I would also say it's changed a little bit about like who I am socially too, because I'm also really like quiet, reserved, shy. And so just like the idea of getting on stage and performing is one thing, but also like having to introduce a song and make it feel natural. Like that didn't come super naturally to me at first. The idea of speaking in front of people terrifies me. And so, yeah, I would say like the social piece of like being in the group classes and trying to like branch out and talk to people, knowing that eventually if I wanted to do it on stage, I was also going to have to talk. I couldn't just stand there and sing. I had to also be personable. And my go-to if I'm uncomfortable is to kind of like stone face and shut down a little bit. That's kind of like how I am naturally. So trying to overcome that and make it not so uncomfortable was really difficult, I would say.
That's amazing. And has the singing journey, has that helped you, because you're a teacher too, so you're using your voice all the time. Have you found it's helped you at all with your day-to-day at work?
Well, when we first met, like I would lose my voice every year in the fall because having the summer off, I would like not talk nearly as much. And then I would come back in September and talk so much, especially in those first couple of weeks when you get your new class, you're the one doing most of the talking. And I would always lose my voice. And so I started doing like little vocal warm-ups on the way to work every morning and stuff. And I haven't lost my voice in years.
I love that. I love that.
I'm always like recommending it to people at work because a lot of people at my work do lose their voice. And I'm always like, here's the podcast. Like go find it.
Awesome.
Even if you like, I don't care if you're singing or not, just do it before you go to work. I promise it will help.
It really does. And like my best friend's a personal trainer. And so she's always like shouting over people in gyms, and like there's so many ways that you use your voice and people don't think to do like a vocal warm-up because it's just not an obvious way to go. So yeah, like what are there any like specific exercises or warm-ups or things that you're just like, I do this every time? Like for any of you, like is there anything that is a standout that you're just like, I have to do this before I sing, or anything that you really love for your voice? What are your rituals?
I always do lip rolls, always.
Yeah.
And I love the like hum to an ah. I love anything where it like starts and then it's like an open up.
Right.
I love those. Okay. Because I'm kind of like shy with my voice sometimes, so I'll be a little bit quiet, but I find I can't do it with those because I'm getting to the note and then I'm like, it's kind of bursting out. And I love that feeling. It gives me like a very excited feeling.
That's awesome. I love that. Sarah, do you have any favorites? And what's your go-tos?
Well, I do the lip rolls because I hate them so much. And I've learned if I hate something, it's probably really good for me. So I always do those. And I also like the meows because they, similarly to how you described it, Nicole, but for me, it's the meows. They just make me feel kind of free and silly and, like my voice is popping out, but it's fun. For some reason, I don't judge the sound of those as harshly as I judge, maybe because they do sound silly, right? I don't know, but, and then I always drink hot water also.
Yeah. I'm always drinking hot water with lemon and ginger. I love that. Love it. How about you, John? What's your favorite exercise? What's your go-to?
Well, lip rolls again. And I usually just go up and down on the organ here and king, knee, knee, and go up to the top, work my way down, that kind of thing. But you guys are right with that. Yeah, that's a cool thing. That's it just everything loosens up with that too. So
totally.
So, yeah.
Totally. And how is sort of, again, this is so cool that this group is here, speaking of community, I was just going to ask about the community and getting people connected, because and this is awesome because I don't know, this is really all, is serendipitous a word? There is a lot of
it is now.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
Serendipitous. Because everyone has joined the group at like the perfect time. So Audrey, I don't think you have all met, but I met Audrey at 97 South, where Nicole, you came to that the year before. So the whole thing about community and how I never intended when I started Rockit Vocal Studios to build something that was actually the thing that I'm most proud of and the thing that brings me most joy is the connections of the people within the group and the people who are my students. So like we were saying at the very beginning, Sarah and John connected and are now doing shows together purely because they bumped into each other in a hallway outside after their lessons. And now Audrey's going to be coming to Nashville in April, and just like, it's so cool how everyone is now connected in part of this community that was just totally unintentional, and it's just part of what I do that I love so much. And also I have to pause and give Audrey a big hurrah, because Nicole, and actually, yeah, community, Nicole and Audrey know each other from the VIP group too, so it's like it's all full circle, so you do know each other. And yes, Audrey, I'm super proud of you, because last night we had our VIP group meeting and we were like reflecting on the year and talking about how baby steps, how we always look at what we're doing, and we always think about what was the big thing that I did to move the needle, and what was the big achievement this year. And Audrey had said, well, I'm only just taking these really small steps. And I was like, actually, no, it's the small steps that push the needle the furthest, because they're, those are what lead up to the needle actually moving. And we were saying, like, what are our goals for this week, and what are we going to do to actually make some more small steps to pushing that needle further. And Audrey was like, I don't have anything planned, and was beating up on herself and being like, wah. And then she texted me this morning, was like, I thought, screw it. And I went to an open mic and I sang and I performed and like had not done any of this before. And I was like, fuck yes, Audrey. So yes, I was super excited when I got your message. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Audrey is here with us today. And tell us about it, Audrey. How was last night? This is so exciting. Oh,
Mute.
There we go.
Am I unmuted now? No, I'm
Yeah,
unmuted.
you're good.
It was very fun. It was also just kind of, I've been to open mics before, and usually I just kind of like sit around and watch. And then they have like a sign up sheet, and you have to go put your name down, and you get your 2-song set or your whatever else, and everybody kind of comes prepared. I had not been to this open mic before in Kelowna, so that's like where I'm situated. So I'm an hour ahead or behind or whatever from everybody else. Well, actually, I don't know from everybody else. I don't know where everybody else is, but from where Emma is, at least. And oddly enough, not so much in January because it's slow period, but you can find an open mic every night of the week around here.
Nice.
And if you want to see live music on the weekends or even during the week, pretty much you could find that most nights of the week as well, which is not what I expected Kelowna to be when I first moved here. I moved here by accident, but that's a different story. So this particular open mic I had never been to, I showed up, and it's run by a guy that I had known in passing from a previous job I had at a bar venue downtown that does a lot of live music. He didn't really remember me, but I was like, hey, Dale, how's it going? I was like, do you remember me at all? And he's like, who are you? And I'm like, here's a video of us playing at the bar I used to work at. He's like, no way, that is me. Like, it was just funny. And then he was kind of the one that pushed me to perform. I was like, am I allowed to sing? He's like, oh yeah, like these guys will play whatever you want. Like, it was very jam session style instead of sign up. It wasn't who's next. It was just like people finish their set and then someone would actually just put their hand up like, who wants to go next?
Nice.
There was no sign up, no announcer, no, it was like very disorganized in a very welcoming way, I guess.
Yeah.
Even the guy that owned the bar was one of the drummers playing.
Nice.
Like, it was just kind of fun. So he's like, you're going to play with these guys. And I'm like, what am I doing? And they're like, what do you know how to sing? And I was like, I don't know. Kind of, what do you know how to play? And we just kind of picked a few songs. My go-to song at any singing bar, karaoke, anything is always just hit me with your best shot, because I know it super well. So it doesn't make me nervous at all. So I like sang that, and all of a sudden everybody was like, this girl knows how to sing. Huh. And then everybody afterwards was very like, I was not expecting that out of the tiny human that you are. And a few people were like, what's your number? We should connect.
Yes!
One of these older gentlemen, I didn't actually end up talking to him because he left, but the guy hosting, he was like, yeah, like, he was like, you guys should totally throw a band together. He plays drums in a few bands in town, and they're like, definitely come back next week, and I don't know, see what happens. But it was so fun. And it's not, again, it's weird for me because I'm not afraid to sing in front of people at all. Like, I don't have stage fright. I'm by no means afraid of performing or being on a stage or being in front of people, but I'm afraid of asking for or putting myself out there or going, hey, I know how to do this thing, because I'm afraid of people's perception of what if it wasn't good enough, or what if I'm not allowed, or what if I'm being too forward, or what if this isn't polite, or but it's not the actual like singing part, it's everything around that, which is like kind of interesting that way. So then I sat here and I was like, well, then I'm going to go to an open mic every day of the week. But turns out Tuesdays are canceled until February.
That's amazing.
So that's now my goal of the week, is to go to the Wednesday one tomorrow and the Thursday one on Thursday. And Friday, I don't know if there is one running, because again, in the wintertime, it's hit and miss.
Yeah.
But I'll at least go back on Monday, and there'll be people that I ran into, and hopefully that is a very positive, again, forward motion thing. And yeah, it all kind of started, I guess, technically, if you want to backtrack, like 2 years ago, because it was the connection with the guy who runs the open mic that I only knew because I worked full time at this bar, and I used to sing karaoke at the bar. So that was actually really fun. I used to like waitress around with a tray and also a microphone at the same time at the bar that I worked at. And that was like how people knew that I could sing. They didn't actually know that I could sing because I performed or did gigs. They were just like, oh, that's the waitress that sings. That's like the singing waitress at karaoke night.
I love it. I love it. That is so cool about like how we were just chatting about that last night, and you acted on it, and it's like all about just being ready to step into, like, to own who you are as an artist and go do that. And hey, Cynthia, yay.
Hi, I'm so sorry I'm late, everybody.
No worries. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining us. It's just, again, and again, this keeps coming back to community, because you've all met Cynthia too. Yeah, Audrey's met Cynthia.
I have. She was at a 97 South.
This is freaking wild. I love this. How like,
hey, Audrey, yes, you guys.
Okay, so yes, so that's to your point, Audrey. Again, like, we're talking all about this whole thing of community, and if you hadn't met that guy and then you bumped into that guy again 2 years later, and then the opportunity arose, and the next thing you know, you're on stage, and then going back again to John and Sarah bumping into each other outside their classes, and now they're playing together and stuff, and Cynthia and Audrey, we're going to be in Nashville together, and it's just, this is so cool. So yeah, I have this is so phenomenal. So we if anyone has to duck out, please feel free. Yes, Sarah,
I have to scoot. I got to scoot. But thank you so much. It was so nice to see everybody, and nice to meet you, Audrey. And I'll see you guys around.
Yes, Sarah, thank you so much, and congratulations.
See you later, Sarah.
Bye. Okay, ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Cynthia's now on the hot seat. I'm gonna grill Cynthia.
Oh no.
Now that she's here. Can you recall like a specific moment when you realized that singing was something you wanted to pursue seriously? And it's wild because I vividly remember when you called me to talk about singing lessons that day. That was so funny too.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
Seriously, I think it was when I really like connected with other people in your groups, that it just really made me realize I can pursue it seriously without pursuing it as a career based on where I am in my life, but it can still be just as fulfilling, but just from a different perspective. So what I just find is if I'm not connected with singing and I'm not doing it, and I'm just in this little vacuum right now, like I just haven't got my new year set up yet, and it feels very I feel very disconnected from myself. I think it really helps me to be very personal with me. It was one of like just getting to know myself in a way I never had before. You know, when you sing, you're very vulnerable. You can't hide behind anything. You know, you can step behind a screen, you can do whatever, but it's all out there when your voice comes out. So yeah, and when I started to be able to do that in front of other people, which, you know, Nicole, you were around when that first happened, and even Audrey, even still at 97 South. For me, I just feel so vulnerable when I'm doing it, but it forces me to connect with myself.
Yeah, I love that. That's so awesome. And I always, well, not always, but just recently when I've been asking the question when you started pursuing singing seriously, for me, I take seriously as like when you actually put some money into it, because that's like,
Oh yeah.
that for me, I'm like, that's a commitment, as opposed to like,
Yeah, I've been doing it seriously for a while.
yeah,
Yes.
totally. And it's like serious, that like that's a serious commitment. Like I don't take that
Yeah.
lightly when people invest money with me, and it's like, okay, you're serious about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that your goal is now that you want to be at the top of the charts or what have you. It's like, no, you're serious about your skill, or you're serious about your passion, something that you really love. So no, I absolutely love it. Jason and I we were driving to go camping. I can't remember what, it must have been like a Friday or something, and we were just off. We were going into the middle of nowhere. Reception was about to cut out, and the phone rang. And Jason has this horrible habit. Ever since then, now, Cynthia, I've answered all kinds of horrible phone calls because Jason gives me the look, and he's like, "Could be another Cynthia," because I answered the call, and it was Cynthia. And since that day, what I want to say, like 5 years ago, Cynthia's not only become one of my
Yeah.
favorite clients, but just a fantastic friend too. So now I get the look from Jason, and I'm terrified, and I'm like making friends with cold callers from goodness knows where, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad not answering. But anyways, yes, I'm very grateful that Jason gave me a serious glare and was like, answer the damn phone. And then when I hung up, and he was like, she sounds fantastic, I told you so. So yes, now I'm afraid to ever ignore a phone call.
I love that story, but I love because isn't it interesting how when you asked me, you know, when I started taking it seriously, at first I thought you were confused because I thought I thought that the only people that took singing, like when you asked that, I thought it was only from like if people were pursuing a career, which is how I responded. When you said what you just said, I'm like, yeah, why did I respond that way? Which therein lies part of the issue with people about singing, right? It's like, well, if I'm not doing it to pursue a career, then I'm not serious. And I never thought about it.
It's
Oh,
like,
there's a podcast topic for you. Honestly, I never thought about it from that perspective before.
it's like, honestly, if you're getting in the car, or if you're carving time out of your day and you're putting that into your life, in my opinion, that's serious. Like that's a genuine commitment, and I really admire that, and I honor that with my clients, because it's really important to me that this is a really important time of their day too. And it's just, yeah, it's serious. It doesn't matter whether your career is on the line, or whether, like, say, some of the people that I work with, it is like so frustrating. Middle of summer, middle of festival season, that's when they all call me, and they're like, I'm losing my voice, I'm panicking, I've got 17 more shows to do, what do I do? And I'm like, well, you do what all of my other clients do, and they commit to a regular schedule, and they don't have problems. But yeah, so no, no matter what level of client I'm working with, I really do honor that time commitment and that investment, because it is taking something seriously. So
well, and it's interesting because I think that it's that same myth when you say, you know, why is it when we're like 6 or 7 and someone tells you you can't sing, we think for the rest of our life we can't sing, but yet you would never tell a 6 or 7-year-old, well, you can't play basketball, so you might as well forget about it.
Exactly.
Why do we do it with singing? But even about taking it seriously, what I'm thinking about, well, if I was playing guitar or some of my other pursuits that I take seriously, I don't judge it that way. So why am I judging it that way? Like, it's just all this stuff that's wrapped around singing. And here you are teaching me again tonight. It's like right away, I'm like, well, I'm not becoming a professional, Emma. You got the wrong person. Like, ask Nicole or Audrey or John. I don't know.
And that's just it. That is this is a lovely segue, Cynthia. This is fantastic because it is that genuine connection to your voice and your sound. It is who we are. It's a really natural thing. And yes, there's that whole other topic of, and everyone has a story where they were judged or told something about their voice that was right, whether it be it's great, it's amazing, or whether it's be like, no, maybe you should take up an instrument or do dance or something. No matter what that is, sharing your genuine voice. And Nicole, you were at the retreat for this where we did finding your genuine sound, and it literally, we invested like 3 days with people who have been working on singing for a very long time to be like, actually, what does my voice sound like? What is my voice? What is my sound? And connecting to that. So I guess like maybe anyone can speak on this, but I'd be really interested to see how your experience has been of like finding and connecting to your genuine sound, and when you know this is me just trying to sound nice versus this is me singing, and having that certain confidence to be able to step into that. There is a bit of a bridge, I think, between like singing, like painting by numbers and hitting all the dots and being really accurate and technically pleasing to an audience versus like, wow, I'm feeling something that person is putting out. So yeah, I'd be interested to know like if any of you, maybe some of you are still trying to find that, maybe some of you are like, I can't sing unless I do that, and maybe that's why my singing is a bit messy sometimes because I'm just being so genuine and real with it, or whatever that is. So yeah, let me know. I'd like to, John, any thoughts on that?
Well, I was thinking it'd be good to hear from the folks that have been doing this for a while. I'm still finding, I'm always trying to do this and that and the other. I do know when I'm doing it right, because I'll turn on the speaker down here and I'll just try. So all I'm hearing now is through the speaker, and you hear the voice differently than when you're just singing to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll just do the singing part of it and not so much on the guitar, and I'll just really try and analyze how I'm singing, right?
Yeah.
And just what's pleasing coming out of that speaker.
Right.
And it's funny because when I get to the spot where it's like, oh, that sounds really nice. I'm not trying to be anything different, just loud and musical, and it sounds good. That's when my throat is the least, there's less stress in it. And I can be loud and I'm belting it, and it's just like, wow, I don't feel anything in it. It's great.
Yes.
When I'm trying to do something, that's when I'm tight.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of an interesting. And if you talk to, like, say, you hear Chris Stapleton, he's talking like a regular voice, and then he just, oh yeah, he sings like this, and he goes right into his voice, bam.
Yeah.
So he's got it on, just right there.
There it
So
is.
that's, I assumed, for folks who've been singing for a while. I'm thinking that's kind of where they're at, but I don't know.
That's it exactly. That's where imitation and trying to create something that you think is what you're supposed to be doing versus just letting it out, that's where issues arise.
Probably fun to explore.
Yeah.
And just sing like as a beginner, try a little over here, a little over there.
Totally.
It's good exercise just to see, where you end up. So
absolutely. I always tell people, and people freak out even like when they're pretty much beginners. I'm like, go sing some Whitney, go sing some Mariah, go sing some of the greats that haven't been overly wedged through a computer. Like, go and emulate some of that stuff and see what happens, and see what you can open in your own voice. Don't be afraid of discovering what might actually be hiding in there that you've been scared to let out. So yeah. Nicole, what have you learned about your voice along the journey? Is there anything, have you surprised yourself and been like, oh, I really suit this certain genre or this style, or like, what's your journey look like in that way?
I've been kind of in like an experimentation phase with like what I'm trying to sing, because I have always been a perfectionist, and like one of the things that stopped me from singing in front of people was that it had to be perfect exactly like it was supposed to be, or it wasn't good to me, or wasn't good enough, I guess.
Right.
And then when we started working together, I felt like I was starting to find out things about my voice that I didn't really expect. Like, I always thought that I had a really low voice and that I couldn't sing anything high. Like, I couldn't belt anything, or like I just was like, no, I can't do any of that, so I'm just not even going to try. And so like we've played around with a little bit of that, and now that I'm starting to play guitar as well, then I'm kind of like playing around with keys. And actually when I was playing the gig that I was at a few weeks ago, we played that cover of Straight Up by Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
We've been playing around with it, and afterwards Vanessa came up to me and was like, you should sing R&B. Like that sounded super comfortable for your voice. Like you should try out some R&B. So I'm kind of playing around with a little bit of everything right now to try and find what works best, because I'm also trying to get back into writing, but like figuring out what style of songs I want to write, because I feel like every song I write is a completely different genre. So maybe if I figure out what I like to sing best, that will help me. I don't know.
I love it. I'd love to hear you like early Kelly Clarkson, Miss Independent kind of thing, or like
I was a big fan
Tori
of
Kelly. Like, oh, I'm gonna send you so many songs after this. I'll be like, learn this. So good, so good. Audrey, how are you feel? Like, do you feel like you've discovered your sound yet, or your genre, or your like released your voice yet, or is that something that's a work in progress for you?
I feel like the correct answer is a work in progress. I feel like there are definitely certain songs that it's like, I know I can hit this. I know I can sing that. I know this is in my range. I know this is like, even last night, fooling around with some of the different songs that they played through, and they'd try and start it in an original key. And I'd be like, there's no way I can sing that song, but I can't sing it in that key. Yeah. And then also knowing that, and this is where I think I don't know where my sound is or what my sound is. It's like, I know what my personality is, but it's sometimes all over the place, that I feel like my sound is all over the place. And I definitely like loud, and I definitely like strength in songs. Like I don't do pretty very well. I mean, I can do pretty, but I don't do pretty. And part of that's just, again, personality, the style of voice, that kind of thing. But I am very interested to hear, and again, I'm hoping in Nashville this kind of happens, is like feedback from people, because I know what I kind of sound like, but you always sound different to yourself, first of all. Right. And then the other thing is too, like I still have ideas in my mind of like growing up, and I'd sing a song and I'd start singing it differently because it was fun for me. And I still remember the comments from either like choir directors or parents or whoever being like, why do you sing it like that? It doesn't sound as nice when you do it that way. And you're like, I don't know, because it's more fun. Yeah. Like that's really my only response, is it was more fun, or it sounded nice to me, or I liked it. Yeah. And like in a one-on-one session, I could genuinely show you. I remember the sound of what I'm supposed to sound like according to the choir, or according to my mom when I'm performing in church, or according to like, this is how they want it to sound at the wedding. And I'm very good, I guess, at taking instruction that way. Like coachability that way is like, oh, you want it to sound that way? Okay, I can do it that way. So in regards to what I would do if I was just given entire creative freedom, I don't really know the answer. I just know that it's like, at some point I'm like, that's too high, and at some point that's too low, and kind of what the other gentleman was speaking about of it like feeling good. For me, it's not necessarily the song specific. I just know when it's out of range per se. And I am definitely worse at singing quieter.
Right. For sure.
Unless it's purposefully like an airy, light tone.
Gotcha.
And then it's okay.
Yep.
But the other thing too is like, if I think about what do I sound like, or what am I good at singing, it's like, think of anything like rock ballads, 90s country hits, like not like a little more of a rawness to the voice than there is that classic. Now the brand new stuff sounds very
light and breathy, and
not light, a little riffy, but also just everything sounds very smooth.
Yeah.
because it is, because it's
Yeah.
been smoothed over, because I've only once ever in my entire life sang into like a
Auto-tuned.
studio mic. Yeah, auto-tuned. Sounds very auto-tuned. And I remember hearing it back and me being like, is that actually what I sound like? They're like, oh yeah, there's a vocal corrector on there, and it sounded so perfect. And it was just interesting
Yeah.
to hear that, to be like, huh, interesting. But yeah, I don't know, it'd be interesting again, and I've said this before, but to actually sit down on a one-on-one session and go through those things, because I can sit down on my own with a YouTube video and do vocal workouts or do scales, things like that, but to actually have the verbal feedback
Absolutely.
would be very interesting. And again, that's, I guess, what I'm the most looking forward to of April, is actually having that evaluation. I like people telling me when I suck, because that means I get to be better.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's gonna be so. I love all of this so much, and what I always kind of think about it. And I had another mentor and a voice coach, Tamara Beatty, and she was like, "What it is like it's mining for gold. Like you dig for those things that are unique and that are different and that are
Mhm.
special in a voice. Like some of you know Arliss, and she has that little fluttery thing, and Nicole, you have that kind of raw, full power when you go up there, and it's just that was what was really cool. And now I'm thinking, oh shoot, now I got to plan another damn retreat, because that exploring your voice event was so cool, because it was literally we took time where everyone, I think I made you all sing happy birthday, but
We still talk about this every time we're all together. We're like, remember that time Emma made all of us look each other dead in the eye and say happy birthday?
But none of you, out of like what, the 16 or whatever people were there, I can't remember how many times we had to listen to happy birthday, I apologize, but every single time was so different. It's singing the same song, the same, almost the same key, and it was just like, okay, what was unique and what was standout and what were the different
Oh.
like
Anybody
things
sing like Marilyn Monroe? Happy birthday, Mr. President.
I thought the entire way walking up to the mic, don't do the Mr. President voice. Do not do the Mr. President voice. And open my mouth. That's immediately what came out, and then I couldn't stop.
Good for you. Good for
so
you.
good, so good. But it's just, and you can, it's like, what makes you listen to a song and be like, boom, that's the singer, that's who I'm listening to. That's what you want to find in your voice, because that's your unique sellability if you're looking for an artistic point of view, but from a general voice health point of view, that's the easiest way to access your power and your flexibility and all the things you want to do and play with your voice. Is that genuine sound is going to open the floodgates. And that's the toughest thing of what I teach. It's the psychology of just letting it out, because that's what we hold back. That's the hardest part to open up, is letting that out.
You're right. I still got to remind myself when I'm doing this, stop trying to sing the fucking song. Just sing the song.
Just
And
sing
when,
it.
when I just let it go, just sing the song, as everything loosens, and then it's way better.
It's like when we hit a wrong note playing an instrument, we don't judge the piano. It's like, you're a bad piano. You came from a shitty part of town and you're not my friend. And like, you don't judge the instrument you're playing, or you don't judge the basketball when you miss the net. It's like, what is going on? You gotta just let it out, let your instrument show you what it can do, and all of that stuff. So we've been chatting for quite a while now. I don't want to keep you for much longer, and I really appreciate you all for spending time with me, but I would love to end this by asking each of you kind of, what would you say to anyone, or what would you say to yourself before you started this journey, to be like, what would be stopping you from doing it, and kind of things that thinking about things that you've learned and things you've overcome and goals you've set and goals you've smashed. Like Nicole, you've written and released stuff, wanting me to maybe call an ambulance before you even sung in public. It's like what would you say to yourself right at the start of your journey from where you are now to be like, this is cool, we got this? What would you say to a singer starting out, or who's terrified of, at any age, any point? Like, what are your messages to people?
To myself, I would say just start it. Like it was something I always wanted to sing just for fun. Like I always did, but I always just talked myself out of actually starting it and trying it. And even if it had always just been lessons, that would have already added enough.
Right.
Everything else that came with it, like the community and the people and the like retreats that we've done and the starting to write music, learning to play guitar, performing on stage, releasing music. Like today I was talking to my parents in Newfoundland, and they told me I have a little cousin who's much younger than me. I think she's like 11 or 12. So we don't know each other very well because I've lived away for a very long time. I've lived away the whole time she's been alive. And they told me today she's in a little like music group and they're getting ready to do a spring concert. And the leader of their music group had chosen 2 songs for them to do and was trying to choose a third. And my cousin was listening to my song on Spotify in her headphones while she was waiting for the class to start. And the teacher of her class was like asking her about it. And she was like, oh yeah, my cousin released this song. Like she lives in Calgary and this is like her music that she put out, and her teacher listened to it, and they've decided that they're going to do it as the other song in their little like spring show.
Ooh.
And I was like, that is
my gosh,
so cool. Like things have happened that I would never have predicted. And like I said, if I had just signed up and done group classes and met a couple people and not passed out when I sang in front of people, like that was end goal when it started. And like everything else that's come with it is so crazy, insane. The fact that like anybody would have paid $5-10 to come watch me sing on stage with my brother somewhere is absolutely crazy. Like, I don't know. There's no reason not to do it. There's no good reason to not even try.
Imagine if you hadn't. Like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm so
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that I would still live in Calgary.
Wow.
Because the like community and stuff that I found, like I didn't really have a community, I would say, here, which I'm really used to. Newfoundland is very much like everybody is your friend. You're related to half the people, but everybody's your friend. And I was finding it hard to like find a community in Calgary. And most of the people that I know, that I talk to, that I'm connected with, I've met somehow through this thing that I did on a whim.
I literally actually have something in this eye, but yeah, this one has no excuse. That's amazing. So yeah, John, thank you, Nicole. Like that makes me feel really good, but also I'm just so freaking happy for you. Like the little kids are gonna sing your song.
I know. I was like, is this like it's kind of feels like a weird song for small children to sing. It's about an ex-boyfriend who cheated on me. For any of you who haven't heard it, it's not exactly like
Start them young.
a children's song, but okay, all right.
It's a life lesson song.
Yeah.
I'm no messing with a son of a bitch.
Really cool. That's so cool, Nicole. John, what would you say to yourself before you had lessons? What was holding you back? What would you tell people to do? What would you tell yourself to do?
That's a really good question, actually. I think what my driver was, we got a friend. He's in a band called Ralph to Riches. And he's been playing kind of his whole life, just, he's a basement player and stuff. And he looked like he was having a blast. Like they play around the Vancouver area all the time. And they're good now. They bring in some other people, but he just looked like he's having a blast. But his talent is reachable, right. I think. Like he's not, no Garth Brooks or nothing. But I'm thinking he's having a lot of fun. And I think I could probably do that.
Yeah. So
that was kind of my spur and why I started taking it more serious a couple of years ago. But what I really enjoy too is any song you don't know right now. Okay, I'm starting this song. Lay Down Sally was one, for example. Yeah. We had no idea. Sarah said, hey, let's play this. So we're looking at it, start playing it. And I said, just revel right now the fact we don't know anything about this song other than we heard Eric play it, And then a week later, here we are jamming with it.
Love it.
It's just stuff I didn't know last week. Now we've just kind of accumulating, right? That, like you're saying, the baby steps. Now we're looking back and going, oh, look at this list of songs that we can actually play. And that's just pretty neat, I think. I don't know. It's just, stuff you didn't know yesterday. Now you do, and how it accumulates. And we really enjoyed the open mic. So I think I'm still in the baby steps, all this from you guys probably, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun being up front and entertaining. And
I love it. And props to you for like saying she has a great voice if she wants to collab. Like it's that courage, and Audrey talked about that too. Is like, is it weird to do that? Is it rude? Like, who am I to say, do you want to do music with me? So like, that's a huge step. And I think that's so important to put yourself out there and find the right people and make the connection.
Even the wrong people. I mean, every time you're playing with somebody, you're learning something.
Exactly. And like, obviously, disclaimer to the females going out to the bars and finding people. There's some nuts out there. Use your discretion. Community is always good because it's always a friend of a friend or something like that. But yeah, no. And with regards to talent and skill, personally, I say it's always best to be the least talented one in the group or the room or whatever, because you're always learning. It's when you're the peacock strutting around like Mick Jagger and the rest of them are all like, what's that person doing here? That's time to go challenge yourself a little bit more. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, John. That's awesome. How about you, Audrey? What would you say to yourself at the start of your journey? And I know we're only, well, I say only, but we met last July, so it's been a little while. But what would you say? And I'm just honestly still so excited about what you did last night. I think that's so wild that we just ended our session talking about what are you going to do next, and you went and just slammed it and did it. So I'm like, yes, so good. But yeah, what would you say to anyone who's kind of on the fence or worrying about taking those baby steps or those big steps?
Can I answer the question kind of differently?
Absolutely.
It's like it doesn't even technically answer your question, I guess, but it's more of just like an acknowledgement or an observation.
Yeah.
And it's just very interesting for me to observe and this is more of I guess a nod to what you do, or to the role that others play in people's journeys, is just the significance of somebody else going, yeah, you could do that, or somebody else acknowledging that it's a possibility, or just like that positive acknowledgement or positive encouragement versus people shutting down other people's ideas or dreams. And it doesn't even have to apply to singing or to vocals or to that. It could be anything. It could be, I had a conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago about a job that they pursued, and the reason why they pursued it was they saw one of their buddies that they were like, I'm much smarter than him, but he did it too. Like, just kind of that positive reinforcement, because again, it's just interesting, because in my mind growing up, I was always like, I sing good, don't I? Like, don't I sing well? Like, don't I sound okay? And you sounded okay enough that people wanted you to sing at their wedding. You sounded okay enough that the pastor texted you or sent you an email, because it was still emails, every few months to ask if you would sing at the Christmas concert, or you did the solo for the choir. So you're like, okay, I obviously don't suck on a logical level.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it was just the people around you going, yeah, but you can't do that. And you're like, but why? And I see it a lot in business podcasts or conversations with friends, again, the smarter people in the room, going, why are you taking advice from somebody who hasn't been there?
Yep.
Or why are you taking advice from somebody who's somewhere that you don't want to be?
Yes.
So it's just interesting that way. If I were to give myself advice, and this isn't really advice, this is more just like an annoyance at myself, is it's like, why didn't I start earlier? Or why didn't I? Because it's funny, you mentioned Tamara Beatty or whatever, years ago, like I'd say 5 years ago, I think I sent an email to her or reached out to do vocal lessons. And at the time I wasn't in a financial place to be spending money on just extra stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I didn't, but it's just kind of funny how it's like, it's always been in the back of my mind. And it's like, at what point are you going to just step forward or try it or figure it out or just be like, why am I stopping myself? Because I guess the main theme from everybody's conversations, if you listen to the comments from the group in general, is for the most part, why not? Or like, why can I not be the person? Or again, Cynthia making comments about it being one of those things that a lot of times arts and crafts, not arts and crafts, but arts and performance, sorry, are often something that you either are born with or you're not.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is very interesting because it's, and I mean, people do definitely have dispositions to certain things. Like I know I was very good at hearing the tune and knowing if it was on or off, like right from a very young age. Like there are definitely things that people are more naturally attuned to right off the bat. But really, the people that are the most successful in any industry, whether that's performing arts, that's engineering, medicine, all of that, is it's kind of just the people that are enjoying what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I guess it's like when I sing a song, I don't really think about it much. I just sing because it makes me happy.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. That's awesome.
So that's like kind of my answer to the question, but kind of just a
I
commentation.
love your answer kind of bullshitting. Did you just say kind of bullshitting?
Oh yeah, that's how you get 10 out of 10 points on the like, what did you learn from this class at the end of the test?
I got accepted into music school because I completely made up a whole piece of music. I couldn't even do theory. Didn't even know what I was writing. I was like, well, I'm sat here for 2 hours and I've got a piece of sheet music in front of me and I've got to fill in all the dots. So I just scribble for 2 hours. And they were like, she's a genius. Here's a free ride. And I was like, no, I shall not be accepting this opportunity. Thank you kindly, but I will step down from this fabulous opportunity because I literally drew pictures on the score there. Yeah.
I once didn't do the
Wow.
homework and I just wrote a story of what it feels like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute, of course. And I passed. It wasn't even that class. It wasn't English or nothing. It was math or something.
Have fun. That's the most important thing. So, Cynthia, I'm excited to hear what you would have said to yourself before you interrupted my camping trip with my husband.
So for myself, it was what would I tell myself and where was I at? I always knew I loved to sing, and my mom was a great singer, and I sang in the church choirs, but I was always like in the background person, and I was told I sung soprano. So because I was told that, that's all I ever tried to do. And it wasn't until you, Emma, said, well, wait a minute. No. Like, yes, you can sing soprano, but my voice, I can't even remember the term, is alto. Like, that's where I'm comfortable. That's where my voice doesn't strain. That's where I feel really good.
Yeah.
So I think I would say, it's for anyone out there considering it or starting or whatever your journey is, like, just trust yourself. And if you're being told things or you don't like what's going on around you, I mean, like if you walked into a clothing store and the sales clerk wasn't really nice or was telling you something looked good and you knew it didn't, like, you'd go somewhere else. I don't know what it is about singing or your voice or the power of voice that we just go, oh, okay. Like, where does that come from? Instead of, so I would have started much younger, and I would have just really embraced it because, like John, I just like to see people on stage emoting, and coming from a career where keeping your emotions to yourself is just everything. I think it would have helped a lot in that journey if I could even have let them out through voice or through singing. And so I definitely would tell people, please, just go out and find the right fit for yourself. And like you do anything else in life. And I don't know why with voice, and Audrey, you kind of alluded to it. Why is it when it comes to singing and voice, and it's such an important part, and why is it in the schools music's one of the first programs to go when they're cutting budgets. And if anything, most of us have memories as kids, whether it's in a school choir or something, that's connection, community, mental health, all of those things. So I would have started earlier. I would have ignored people that told me, you sing this. So I was like, okay. And that's all I ever sung. Hence, it was difficult at times, finding that comfortable voice and connecting with my voice. And it's always going to be a journey I take seriously. Thank you for giving me permission to say that.
Yeah.
I would be in a very different place. When I met you, you were the person I needed to meet about 40 years ago, just saying.
Oh, don't! I'll get something else in my
Except
other
you were
eye.
probably quite young then, and I'm not sure you could have taught me very well. But yeah. And so now this connection, the community, it's like you're saying, John, oh my gosh, that just looks like fun. Getting to know myself on a level that I never had before. Do I still, if I get up and sing in front of someone, just about die before I get up there? Yep, I still do, but I do it.
Yes.
But you will never find a nicer group of people. It's just like we were saying, and Nicole was saying that, and Audrey and John. It's just this whole group of people. And I think if people in your listening audience, Emma, could understand the potential of how they perceive their life or how things could change, no matter their age,
Yes.
then I think doors just open. And Audrey, I think you're finding that too with this group and seeing you in Penticton. Like it was just, you've got so much potential with your singing voice, and you were kind of wrapped up at a younger age in the same way I was about listening to everybody that told me about singing or not singing. I mean, you're at a whole other level than me, but what I'm saying is that, yeah, anyone that would say anything about my voice in terms of singing, I would cringe and, put my tail between my legs and just move on. And because of that, I missed out on so much.
Right.
So thank you, Emma, for picking that phone up.
I know, right? Thank you for calling.
Thank Google for just saying this is the lady you need to call. The universe just boom.
It's really wild how everything lines up for the right reason, and you're so right on finding the right fit, and it's so important finding the person that you resonate with as from a coaching perspective and from a community perspective, because that's what makes it really unique. And so yeah, keep looking around and keep searching because there is someone that is a perfect fit for you. And don't always be searching for validation, because you might already be there. And that's what I find is really interesting sometimes when I'll meet people and they'll be like, am I a soprano, am I alto, am I doing this right, how is my vibrato, how is all this and this and this, and I'm just like, if you like how you sound and if it feels good and you're getting just go and do it, go and enjoy it. You don't need external validation all the time. Sure, if you want technical help, if you need voice health stuff, if you need, obviously keep doing all the things that you want to do to keep learning. I keep learning. I've got to get up bloody early tomorrow for a lesson with a coach in Nashville.
Well, you're kind of half social worker, like half psychologist, half technical. I think, and it probably changes all the way through, because I mean, a lot of the training and stuff we're practicing is like, okay, some of it's technical, a lot of it's what are you thinking? What are you feeling about, right? And I think another thing that just dawned on me when it came to you is allowing myself to sing. And so there's nobody in my life and everywhere that I think anyway that I can sing in front of and just be okay. This is how I want to sing, because everybody I was known always, oh, that guy sucks and this person sucks, and so now you have to start looking at it differently and going, actually, I'm not bad. You got to suck. Everyone sucks when they start.
Trying new things, like
try and allow ourselves to do something, right? And
absolutely.
so you're certainly a safety net and a support for that. I mean, there's nothing but positive, and so walk out of there feeling
awesome.
So that certainly helps a lot. And it took a while so I can actually say that I'm a singer, and that was a weird thing too. It's like, no, I'm just singing. I'm not a singer. Right. And it took probably a year and a half before somebody asked me, what do you do? I play guitar and I'm a singer. So just I can admit that to myself, and that was a weird little thing, but
It's
I
so
don't know.
true. It's
Psychological,
that
right?
imposter syndrome. That's a whole other podcast.
You got
There.
to bring in a couch and have the piano on one side and the couch on the other. And
Absolutely. Maybe that'll be my New Year's, like redecorating the studio. I'll put a little couch in there for the
have a pipe.
the
So
emotional
tell me what you're
moment.
feeling. Once you're done, we'll do some scales.
There we go. It's so true, and I love all of that stuff. And it, again, talking about constantly learning, I've got a really cool course that I'm going to be doing all about kind of mental health and the pressure of when the people I work with are now taking their career as a professional, and how suddenly the switch of like the joy of music suddenly turns into the pressure of what you have to do as a musician, and now it's your job, it's not your passion, it's not your joy, it's actually theirs. So yeah, I'm doing a whole course on that this spring, so I'm super excited for that. But no, the psychology angle of it is absolutely huge, and just making sure people feel comfortable and confident, and finding your person for your coach, and having that trust, because that vulnerability in the voice is a big trust thing, and whoever it is, if I'm always saying, like, Nicole knows, if she went to LA and I was like, go see this coach, I'm always like, go, like, learn with as many people and experience as many different things, because that would be a very weird coach to be like, you're my client, don't go learn with other people, all that competitive weirdness. But I'm always like, go explore and find where you fit and find where you feel good. That is the key. And if you're feeling good, it's going to be good. That's where it's safe, that's where it's healthy, that's where your voice is going to be the strongest, and that's where you're going to find people who are like you too. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. It really means a lot for you to take a lot of time, so thank you. That was a big chunk of your night, and it means a lot that you came and spent it with me to share your journeys, and I'm very excited to see what's next for all of you and your serious voices.
Yeah,
Thank you
that
so
course
much.
might be good timing, because as everybody I see some here that'll going to progress to that level, maybe. I don't know.
It'll be good.
Yeah. Thank you, Emma, for
Thank you.
for everything you're doing for all of us. It's amazing, and yeah, this is just an incredible group of people, and congratulations on 100.
Yay, 100 episodes. Thank you so much for being part of it, everybody. And I'll let you go on and enjoy your evenings, and I can't wait to sing with you all again soon. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you do leave a review, it's really useful to help others discover the show. You can also check out the weekly vocal workout over on Patreon. I'll leave the links in the show notes, where you can access weekly vocal training from yours truly and totally rock your voice. Thanks again for listening. Check out Rockit Vocal Studios on social and on the web, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.